So, welcome again to everyone. Thank you for joining. Um, I hope everybody had a great weekend. Happy Friday. I know we're in COVID and stuff, but uh, still the weekends is like that special moment of where we can just like relax and instead of going out to a club, now we just go to the backyard. But I guess we have to just learn how to find other ways to de-stress, and this is one of them. We're really grateful for you guys always being loyal to the series and just sticking around for our live streams. I see that Root Drake is in the chat. Thank you for joining again. He's one of the loyals. So today we're gonna be learning about mobile app redesign for developers. This is the third session in the series. Um, and we're going to be talking specifically about iconography and magic numbers. But before we go into that topic, we're going to be finishing the typography section of the second talk we had that we couldn't quite get to it. But today the stream is going to be a little bit more interactive. I just want to have the first hour for the brief overview of the theory, and then the last part, the second part of the session, the last hour, we're gonna be actually starting to do our mock-ups for the new features, because next week I have a special surprise for you guys. We're gonna be having my friend Brandon Minnick joining us as well as a co-host in the series, because hopefully today we're gonna finish at least one of the mockups for the features, and we can start also integrating these new features and UI to the GitTrends app. So we're gonna be doing both things. We're gonna be designing in the first hour in the next stream, and then in the second half we're gonna be live coding in C# for Mockup our UI into the GitTrends app. So you can also see how we are leveraging C# for Mockup to do our UIs in C# and get around all the hassle of the xamarin Forms C# you know, framework. Instead of doing everything plain, how xamarin Forms offers us, we are using C# for Markup, and it's making it way easier for us to implement our UI. So the first thing we're gonna see, let's come over here. We will be talking about typography. Here it is. Oh, last disclosure. Today I'll be, as you can see, Angel is not here. He's gonna be also joining us next Friday. So I'll be flying solo, and if you have any questions, just make them in the chat. I'll try to stay I'll try to pay attention to the chat, and any question you have, just don't wait till the end. You can just ask them while I'm talking about the topic, because that way we can make it more dynamic. And yeah, any suggestions, any tools you think I might have missed or could be cool I could check out live in the stream, just send them in the chat, and we can also do that. So let's go here. Let's see if you guys can see XD. Please confirm in the chat if you can see Adobe XD with no problems. I'm trying to move it around to see if you get some lag. All clear. Nice. Oh, hi Eduardo. Welcome to the stream. It's a pleasure to have you. Okay, perfect. All clear. So typography. Let's come over here. No lag either. Perfect. So Davjo, I don't know if I'm butchering that username. If you want, you can send your user in the chat if you feel comfortable, and that way I can address you by your, you can send your name and I can address you by your name, and it's easier for me to, to talk with you guys while you are in the chat. So the first thing we're gonna see on today's session, we're gonna finish a topic we didn't get to reach on the second talk of the series, which was typography. And this is another topic that sometimes can be kind of a challenge for us. We don't know if we have never dealt with design. I mean, we're just developers. We're trying to get the feature out. Maybe we have never had the time to research this topic. And it's also a topic that is really big. If you start researching, you start learning about font families and serif, non-serif, and monospace, and you start getting confused. Like, what is all this keywords flying around? Like, you don't even know where to start, right? So we're gonna try and simplify this because remember, we want to make our mobile app redesign as simple as we can and just leverage all the resources and tools we have available. So I'll give you the basics of typography, and with this, if you just go by these basics, if you'll be able to implement any font family to your UI, and it's gonna look well with it, and it won't look like, oh, the UI is making too much noise, right? Oh, I see Ricardo join us. Hey Ricardo, welcome. Thank you for joining again. Ricardo is part of as well of the group of the loyals that it's every Friday it's here. We're really happy to have you here. I see also Faisa just joined us. Welcome as well, Faisa. Okay, so let's continue with typography. Remember, any questions you have, just ask them and I'll address them while we're dealing with the topics. So, okay, so let's go here to XD. Give me a second. So what is the importance of choosing the right typography for our mobile design? So if you can notice here in our list of repositories, you can see right away we have, like, okay, the title of the repository, we have the description. But if you look closely, let me zoom in right, so the stream, you can notice it in the stream. These two texts look the same, but actually the first one you can see like it has, it's like bold, right? But would you believe me if I told you this actually is not bold, the title text? And the reason why I'm telling you this title text is not bold is because basically what I'm using here, it's something called the font weight. And the font weight is basically an attribute that every font has, every font family. And basically the font weight, let me zoom in a little bit more on this graphic here. Here it is. So fonts have different properties to them, right? We're not gonna learn all of these. I'll just give you the basics, because if we go into all of them, we're gonna spend the whole session just on that. But the basics are, every font has, as you can see, has letter spacing, has a certain height to the font, and the height, if you notice, wait, okay, there it should be good. And the height of the font, if you notice, is actually not the height, it's not the real height of the font, if you don't know what it is at first, right? So you're saying, you say like, okay, my height is, let's say 12 here, but if you notice in this graph, the X height only reaches onto the height of all the lowercase letters, right? The highest, the lowercase letter is, that's gonna be your X height. And there's another thing that's called cap height, and it's basically the total height of the font, including the lowercase, high case, I guess. I'm trying to translate it in English. Remember, this is an effort we're doing to have streams in English. If that's not the, yeah, uppercase. Thank you, Ricardo. Yeah, you just forget words, but yeah. So the cap height is the height you have of the font from the bottom of the text all the way to the top of the up of any letter of your uppercase. So that's the real like total height of your font. That's important to know because remember in xamarin forms when you're dealing with text, right? There's some properties that are called like are called line height, are called letter spacing. So those two properties are basically to control the spacing you have between this line of text and this line of text if you're using line height, and also the letter spacing one is used to control what is the space between each of the letters of your font. So those are the two things to take note of, because every font you search for has their own defined letter spacing and font height, right? So when you're trying to pick a font, you should be conscious about what is the real spacing that you have between the letters, and based on that you can know if that's really a good font for the scenario you're gonna use it, like a good font for a title or a good font for a body text. You can also notice a few more attributes of fonts over here. So remember when I was saying there are fonts that are like serif, or non-serif, or monospace. So that basically is just saying, if you see here this little tail the font has, that's called a serif. And when you say you're using a serif font, it's a font that has this little tail at the end of each letter. You see? At the borders. So each letter has this a serif here, and that's what makes a font part of the serif family. You see? So I'm gonna show you a really good tool where you can find a wide range of fonts and all their different font families. And there we're gonna see the difference there is between serif, monospace. So let me go here and I'll go to Google Fonts. So we're gonna go to Google Fonts. Google Fonts is basically it's a really good site. It's a collection of fonts. This is stored by Google, and they're completely open source and free. You can, as soon as you see any of these fonts, you can just tap on them. You see all the different types they have here. You can literally just tap on them, and once you get this font, it's gonna give you like all this rows here that say like thin, light, regular. I'll get into this in a bit, but what I wanted to show you first is that as soon as you click the font, you can come here and press the download button, and that's gonna automatically download this font to your computer. And to use it in your Adobe XD project, you literally just have to open the zip file, and this is going to install that font in okay see Come on, mouse. Work with me. Okay, we're back. The mouse started freezing for a moment there. Okay, so once you open the zip, you're gonna see the font files. Let's give it a second here so it opens. While this opens, I can go into what are all this different type of, we could say different type of the same font, right? So basically, this is another property every font has, and this property is called font weight, and font weight basically controls the weight of the lines of the letters. So the higher the weight, the bigger these lines are gonna be. So if you see here, let me zoom in. So if you see here, if we go with the 10 weight, this is like the thinnest the lines of each letter can be. And then as you go up in the weight scale, you see how it gets like bolder and bolder, and then you get to this is the regular weight. So this is how the font lines look at its regular scale. This is how it's supposed to be in a normal like default setting, right? But remember I told you in GitTrends, the titles, we have not set it like bold. You know, that using the font attributes and like bold. I totally do not recommend using bold in your fonts. And the reason is because when you use bold, that actually distorts the font, because you're trying to force that bold into the font family. Let's say you have font regular, and you set that bold attribute. That's actually altering the font and trying to make it bold. So it's gonna, in some cases, gonna look distorted. So what I actually recommend is just use the font weight. So if you want your font bold, there's actually a weight of the font that is called bold. And as you can see, if you compare it with the regular one, this is, you see, it actually looks bold in front of the regular one. And it's gonna be completely high resolution, it's not gonna distort. So yeah, just go with the bold weight if you want something bold. And if you want something that stands out even more than the bold one, we have a question here. Okay, so Ricardo is asking, does material design recommend any fonts width and height like the colors? So I don't know if you guys have I don't know if you guys have noticed, but Android and Google actually support a specific font they use as default in their operating system, and that font is called Roboto. Let me open another window here. Google Fonts. Oh, let me just finish with this, and then I'll go into your answer, Ricardo. So I was saying, if you want something that stands out more than the bold one, you can go with black. And this one I basically use to make like headings for my titles. So let me show you a good example of that. How you can play around with the weights, and how your UI is gonna stand out more, and you can like outline specific parts of your UI just by using font weights. Let me go back here. So I'm gonna show you a simple example with my banners. So if you see the banner here, I'm using the same font. Let me go here. So here, okay. So if you see this banner here I made for my blog on how to display PDFs, these two are actually the same font. And the only difference is that this font is, the font I use here is called Montserrat. I really like this font. I found it like years ago, like 2 years ago, and I was just drawn to it, and now I use it for all my banners and my blog posts. So this is actually the regular weight of Montserrat, and then what I did for the headline, I just literally put all caps. I put xamarin Forms, and I put the black weight of my Montserrat font, and you can see how it looks totally different from the title, and it stands out, and it looks like a clean design, right? It looks really polished. And this I can scale and downscale however I want, and it's never gonna get blurry or lose its quality. So you can use font ways to play around and organize your content in a way that the user can easily glance through it. So I like to use the black weight to do like my categories or my headlines, and that way users can identify them easily, and I can put another font, another text right below it, and it's not, and you are not gonna get confused and think that, oh, this part is also part of this text over here. So yeah, you can use weight to make clear separations between your content. Okay, so continuing here, let me zoom out, and I was going to show you now. Let's require those questions. So material design recommends to use their Roboto font as default. That's what you get in your Android apps the first time let's say you create the Hello World Xamarin app and you run it in your Android device, the font is gonna use by default is Roboto. So you already get that out of the box. And if you want like what are the recommended sizes for the headings, for the bodies, and for the subtitles and the titles, Android also has already defined in their framework, like you have styles. If you put like title style to your text, it's gonna grab the recommended values for what is the size of the text for a title. And yeah, you can also see the recommended sizes in the material design guidelines. That's a good starting point to learn how to add fonts to your project and how to decide on which one you want. Oh, perfect. I see they sent the link in the chat. Let me copy it. Thank you for providing the link. That way we can get to it faster. Material design. Yes, and exactly. So in the Xamarin documentation, they're called name font sizes. So when you set the property, instead of setting a number to it, you're gonna set a name, a keyword, which is like the name of what you want that text to be. So if you say it's gonna be a title, it's gonna grab for Android. The recommended size is 24 dp. For a header is 96. For body text is 16. For subtitle is 16. For a caption is 12. And if you notice, something I was also gonna cover is that we should be careful with font. There's only two things you should really be careful with when you're dealing with fonts and custom font types and weights, right? So if you notice all the font sizes here, the smallest value, the minimum value they go to is 12. Why? because, well, Android recommends that the minimum you use is 12, but I remember reading in the iOS human readable guidelines, human interface guidelines. Sorry, I don't, I'm an Android lover, so I don't know really well the iOS guidelines. But I remember when I was doing a project, I had to implement all the guidelines for the text and in iOS in that project. And the lowest I recommend to go is around 11 or 9 in font size, and that's pushing it. Because once you go to those values, it's really hard in some devices to read the text easily for your users. So we recommend you to not go below 12, and you should be good. And also, if you notice that here in the weight, there's 10, light, and regular, right? The 10 and the lightweight weights, I only recommend them using if it's more than 14 in font size. Because as soon as you go 12 font size, and you put the 10 weight, we get into the same problem I was talking about, that the users, it becomes really hard for them to distinguish the text and read it easily. So we can see a brief sample here. Let's go to the Adobe XD project, and let's put a text. Let's say hello. So if I come here, and if you notice here, and for my Roboto font, I have all its weights, font weights installed. So that's another thing. When you install a font, let me see if we already got the file open here. If you go to the folder, you're gonna notice you're gonna have a bunch of font files here to install on your computer. So each of those font files is each font in its different weights. So that's why when you're working in a xamarin project, or you're working with fonts on your computer, you're gonna have to install the weight of the font that you want to use. In my case, since Roboto, I was experimenting with all the font styles, I went ahead and installed all of them. But actually, in the xamarin app, once I identified in my Adobe XD project which were the fonts I was gonna use, I only added to my project those font files, because remember, they're not that heavy, but I wouldn't recommend just having resource files inside of your app if you're not gonna use them. So unless you're gonna use them, add them. If not, just don't add them. So if we come to Adobe XD, we can select the text, right? Wrong zoom. Where is the zoom? Okay, here it is. So this is the regular font weight. If we copy here and we set the 10 one, here you can see the difference between both texts, right? And a good thing to notice is that general rule of thumb that I do is, so I use regular for body text. You can go straight with body text for regular, right? Light text I like to use because whatever you put in light text looks modern and clean. So I will generally use it for like this tag over here, like for the credits of the app, or like who created it. If you notice here, we have Roboto size 12 in light, and you see like how clean and polished it looks. It looks like you engraved it in that screen on the bottom, right? But if we change this to, let's say, regular, you'll see how it looks just like part of the content, and I don't want it to look like just part of another text of the app, right? So there you see the difference, you see? So you can use that neat trick to use it in those places where you want to have the that text look like refined and something that's going to stand out. But don't go below 12 when you use the light one. Okay, so let's go back here and let me show you the issues if you use less than 12, and let me show you the comparison between regular and let's say the black one. So you can see how much the font weight changes and how you can leverage this font weight to do cool things like this. Like I wanted the title to stand out, so besides just giving it a bigger size, also use fonts to your advantage, and the user, as soon as he sees your UI, he's gonna easily be able to glance through it and see the titles and see it like everything is balanced, right? Because this is not too bold. This is exactly in the right scale in reference to this one. So if we go here, let's put them size 12. That's size 12, and you can already start to see how this one is turning harder to read, right? And if we go, let's say size, let's just go 11. 11 already, I'm struggling to see the light one, and I'm not even zoomed out that far, you see? So the same thing you're experiencing in your Adobe XD design, since this is made to scale to your mobile device, the user is also going to experience it. So if you feel like you're looking at it and you don't feel like it's quite right, it's probably there's probably some change you need to do there, right? And also another important thing to note is that if you see here, you see, the more you increase the weight, the more also the letters. Remember, all this text is the same size, but if you see, the black and the regular one are bigger in theory than the light one. And why is that? Because it has to accommodate space for the bigger lines of each letter, right? So you could also leverage that and be like, oh, I don't really want to make this bigger than my body text. Like I can literally be 12 and 12 here, and you still get the feeling like this is a title and this is completely separate, like more importance than your body, because you see it's a bit bigger, but it's actually the same, in the same ratio, right? You see here, I think they almost start the same and everything. So in my banners, I think I use the same font size for this. So this category here and this are the same font size, and I just changed this one to black, and you see how it looks like. This one might be a little bit bigger than this one. So yeah, another cool tool you can use, let's say you need inspiration for fonts, right? So how are we going to choose the right font? If we go to here, yeah, so here in the documentation of typography of material design, you can learn a lot more about like all the properties of the font, and like what is a stem, what is the stroke, and how all of that plays into the text, right? And how you're organizing your text. But I'll leave that to you guys to read more up on it, because I remember we want just the basics so we can create a design that looks presentable and production ready. But we don't also want to consume all our dev time just learning about design. You can, if you're interested, yeah, you can do it. But we're trying also to be productive and generate designs that don't take us that long. And I'm telling you, fonts, it's a rabbit hole, and you can literally spend like months just learning about fonts and how to combine them and use them, right? Here you can see how they talk about the weight, how exactly what I was telling you. You can see the differences. Here you can learn what is serif. and there you can see like serifs are the ones that have like this little decoration here, and there's different variations of serif. And then you have sans serif. They also have their little decoration, but they're more straight. You see this one are like kind of cursive, but the sans serifs have a bit straighter lines. Monospace have no tail whatsoever. You see they're really straight. Handwriting, yeah, it's exactly as if you were doing the font with your hand. There's also display fonts. They're really good for people use them a lot for like headings that stand out. So you could use a display font for all your headings. So it also tells you about how to handle letter spacing and what it is. And if you notice the font here, like just comparing these two fonts, if we zoom in, let me zoom in, you can notice right away how the spacing between this A and this L is completely different in this font than the Robotop font. So you should also pay attention to that. If you see they don't have that much spacing, maybe this is not a really good font for you to use in the body of your text. Because if you, let's use dotnet. Oh, this is another cool tool you guys can use. When you're doing your designs in Adobe XD and you want to like fill the text, you see it looks like readable text, but it's not. So this site is a good generator of content for your designs, and you can just copy the paragraph you generate, right? You can generate paragraph, words, list of words, and you can just copy any part of the paragraph it generated, and it's gonna look like it actually says something, but it's not. It's just for your design purposes. And it helps you also, well, let me send you the site here on the chat. There's also a plugin in Adobe XD you can use, so you don't need to be coming to the site and copy pasting. I'll show you how that works in a moment. I'll give at least 3 more minutes to this topic, and then we're gonna dive into this session topics. And I want at least 30 to 35 minutes so we can start mocking up at least one of the features we're gonna be working on next week. For those of you that just joined, next week we're gonna have Brandon Minnick as a special guest, and we're gonna be turning our designs into actual pages in our GitTrends app, and we're gonna be doing some light coding with Brandon. He already started implementing the backend for the features. So yeah, we're gonna see some coding next session. First hour or first 30 minutes, I'll try and do the theory part. We're gonna be seeing dark surfaces and how to do our dark theme and how to do a branded dark theme, how we have in GitTrends. And then we're gonna go straight into coding, live coding with Brandon. So let's see, I sent you that, and now I want to show you the Lorem Ipsum plugin. So we go here to plugin, I already have it installed, and let me see. I think I need to create like a, yeah, I need to create, let me explain to you how you're gonna use it. So you select the text tool. The shortcut for the text tool is the key T in your keyboard. You press down and drag around your screen, and that's gonna create a text box. So once you have your text box, you come and click the Lorem Ipsum. Wait, I think first we need to write something. Hello world. Okay, so once the text is created, you can select it. You go to the plugin, and now it's enabled. So it gives you a few options here, and one of them is fill this text box with Lorem Ipsum text. Or we can do like a quick A quick lorem ipsum. What is the difference between both? I always use the first one. Let me see. Oh, okay. In the first one, yeah. In the first one, you can like do some configurations to the text it's gonna generate. So you can tell him like, hey, when you reach the end, do a line break, because if you see here, the text like continues, right? It seems like I was writing and I just jumped to the bottom line. I think he's gonna write the text accordingly, so this random jumps here don't happen. So let's see. Trim text area height to fit inserted text. Latin. And you can tell him what you want him to end like your paragraph, right? So you want it to end it with a dot or with an ellipsis. In this case, let's just pick a dot. And yeah, there you see how, well, let's do this again. The only thing that changed is that now he added the dot there, and I guess, yeah, the jumps still happen. So I don't know what's the deal with that, but let's zoom this in. Let me erase it again so we can text demo. So we can see it in action. We select it, we press plugins, we select fill with placeholder text, we select how we want it to end the paragraph. I'm gonna select, let's select ellipsis, include line breaks, and oh, you could also like trim the text area to fit the paragraph he's gonna add. But I'm really sure that the paragraph he's gonna add is not gonna be is gonna be bigger than my text area. So I'll just generate it, and there you can see how the paragraphs get generated if he ends it with the punctuation I told him. That's a really good tool to just generate content and see how your UI looks. So you just, in this case, I just created the text box of the size I wanted it here, and then I used the plugin and he filled it for me. So yeah, that's about text. Let me send you some cool websites where you can get good fonts. In Google Fonts, you can filter them by style, by category. Like, if you want to see only serif fonts or display fonts, let's see what display fonts they have. There you go. And there you can see all the different display fonts they have. This one is really, for those of you that have deal with Python and Django, maybe you have done the Django Girls tutorial. I remember long ago, like 4 years ago, I did that tutorial, and their tutorials like you're creating a blog. And I remember the font they use for it is this one, Lobster, for the titles, and it's really cool for the title of your content, like if you have a blog or something. So yeah, you could use this one if you want. It's really fun to use. So okay, let me give you another one. Font.com. That one is also good. Let me put it here in the chat. Let's go to my blog post. I have a few more here. Yeah, Google Fonts and that font. And there's a cool app for your phone that, let's say you saw some website or some app that has a font you really like, but you don't know how it's called, right? Let me find this app here. I have it installed. I remember Kim actually was the first one that showed me this app in his live stream. It's called, let's see, Find My Font. And let me connect my device to my computer so you can see what it does. Come here. I need a USB. Actually, no, I can just use my USB-C one. Sorry, I'm connecting my USB-C cable to connect my mobile phone. Let's come here. Now let's get visor. Visor's now on app, right? Yep. So you can download that app. It's called Find My Font. I think it's available for iOS and Android. Download the new version of Visor. Okay, Visor. You're supposed to play nice. Remember, if you have any questions, you can do them in the chat while I'm downloading Visor, so I can show you this app. If you have any ideas or suggestions you would like to see as well in the series, we have, I think, 2 or 3 more sessions, and the sessions that are gonna be coming up are always gonna have the coding part. I think only the next one will have like 30 minutes of theory, and then we're gonna be mostly just coding in the last 2. Well, coding and mocking up. So we're gonna start today. Also, we're gonna start in XD, mocking up the first feature we're gonna code on next Friday, right? So you can start searching for some ideas in Dribble. Oh, nice! You guys are downloading the app. Yeah, you'll love it. You'll see. Let me come here. Okay, it's still downloading. I don't know why my internet is kind of slow today. Oh, it's downloaded. Is it? Yeah. Yeah, I have a long time that I have not run Visor in my machine. How was I using before? I was trying out a mirroring app Maddie has been using, but my trial ended, so I forgot to update Visor. Let me see if it wants to open. Let's see. Downloads. Oh, I could also just show you. Let me see. Since Visor doesn't want to collaborate, you can also go full screen here with the camera. Let me put my camera here and just show you the phone screen. Oh, okay, wait, it's open. Yeah, he got afraid. He was like, no, don't do that, please. Yeah, that would be a real struggle there. Let's see. Finishing. So after we see this app, we are gonna be talking about iconography and magic numbers. We're gonna take around, I think we should cover it in 15 to 20 minutes, and then we're gonna just spend the last 40 minutes just mocking up our. Which one would you like to do first? The About Us page, where we're gonna thank the collaborators of the GitHub repo, or would you like to do the star tracker screen first, or maybe we could do the redesign for marking our repositories as favorite. So let me know in the chat which one you want to do first, and yeah, you guys decide. I'll start thinking of which one I prefer, but I want to see your opinion first. Okay, we see someone that says about us. Oh, let me also send you the issue. So yeah, while Visor decides to finish installing, let's read our requirements, right? Why am I going to install GitHub? Let me send you the link to the, and also we're gonna be designing this screen today, right? But remember, I want you guys also to be able at the end of the 5 weeks to be able to do a redesign and have something just with the same quality we have here in GitTrends. So the screen we designed today, try and also make your own variation in your Adobe XD project. You can use the same project I have in the repo, so you can reuse our assets. And try and make your own proposal and submit it here to the issue. And if we like, maybe we could combine the ideas, or maybe we like more one you guys sent, and we can just implement yours directly to the app. So that's also a great opportunity for you guys to contribute and to be a part of the process. And this is gonna be part of the version 2.0. That's probably gonna be coming out after we finish our session, because we're literally gonna code the UIs and everything and the feature. And after the end of the sessions, it should be ready to be uploaded to the store. Let me put it here. So that's the issue where we have the requirements. I did a brainstorming session with Brandon a month ago about these new features and how we could maybe implement them. So if you come here, let me zoom this in. So we had a meeting and we were like, oh, these are the features we would like to add in version 2. So in regards to the favorite repos, we had a few ideas. We didn't decide on one, but wanted to run it by you guys as well and see what you guys think. So we can try all of these while we're mocking it up. So for the favorite one, we had the idea of, okay, how can we mark them favorite? Maybe we can use a swipe to action. You know, when you long press on the item template and you push it to the left, and that shows you like an option on the right, yeah, that you can apply that action to that item. So we were thinking maybe we could add that slide action and put like favorite, and that's gonna mark that repository as favorite. We also thought about like using an icon to do it. Maybe we put an icon on the car that you could just tap, and that's gonna make it favorite or unfavorite. Let's see. No. I actually was confused. So swipe to action is, you know how the Gmail app you have in your phone, when you slide it to the left, it automatically archives that item, that email, right? So we were thinking we could add that same thing, and when you swipe to the left, it could automatically make it favorite, and you will see the UI refresh that item as favorite. So that was the first option. The second option was adding an icon to the card somewhere. And the third option was the swipe reveal that I was telling you about. You swipe to the left, it reveals the action on the right side, and you click it, and it turns it to favorite, right? And then we were brainstorming a little bit on how we could implement the backend for this feature. And we basically came up with, so we narrowed it down to this. We said, okay, we could store locally the user preferences on the repos, right? And set a new property to the model of the repositories that is like its favorite column, and we can just update our local database of our repositories. Okay, we have a suggestion here. Why not do it iOS mode? Display the action, and after a threshold, execute the favorite. A mix of 3 and 2. 3 and 1. So it will be, okay, so you're saying when I swipe it in iOS, it gives you like a countdown, and if you leave it there, it does the the favorite. Remember, I'm mostly an Android user, so I didn't know you could, like, there's some apps. If you swipe it up to like 25%, it displays the action. Yeah, yeah. I remember in Gmail, like, I need to, yeah, swipe it to a certain percentage. Yeah, yeah, exactly. If you swipe it, yeah, if you swipe it up to a certain percentage, it displays like an icon and like a different background color. And here in the Android Gmail app, let me see if Visor's here so we can show it to the stream what we're talking about. Yeah, yeah. So this one we were thinking about that same suggestion you're saying. Yeah, yeah. That's a good way of implementing it. And let me see why Visor still says. Oh, okay. Okay, Visor is still doing its thing there. So yeah, that would be a good idea. We could definitely do. Let's replace it. We could definitely do the swipe reveal. But let's try both options. You know, it's always good to have different approaches to it. So let's try the swipe reveal, and also let's try the maybe the icon one. I think that will be interesting to see how we could like fit an icon on this card. We don't have that much space, but maybe somewhere here we could set it, and we should also see like maybe we could make another tag that says like favorite, that says like favorite, and maybe it's a different color, or maybe we could like make some UI thing here, like a favorite UI in this corner, or like alter the card shape. Yeah, you definitely could have a few options there for the UI. If you want, you can start looking in Dribble and search for like the favorite keyword, like favorite item, and that should show you like a list with favorite with like that feature in the list, and start getting ideas and get the links to the designs. And when we're doing that redesign, you can send it and we can look at it together and grab ideas. So the other feature, some of the ideas we had for the start tracking one was maybe using a segmented control on the top part of the page, right? So the start tracking one, we're thinking of implementing it not app level, more like repo level, right? Because you want to see the trend of each of your repos individually. You don't want to have to put like the name of the repo, like we're doing in the site. Let's see if I have it here. Because if you see, this site is really good, but here you have to like write the name of the repo you want, right? Since we already have that information and we're already inside of a repo, we can just show its start tracking for that one. Initially, we could say, yeah, but I would like to be able to compare like two repos together in my star tracker in GitTrends. But we feel like that could be an improvement to, or a new feature, like a general star tracker for GitTrends. So initially, for the first version of this, we want to first add it to each repo individually. but definitely we could like add this one that is more general. And let's get another repo. Google client. Google client. Let's get this one. So you see, this is how the general idea will look, like the general feature. You could like add all the repos you have and start comparing them one with each other, but let's do baby steps and let's start first repo by repo, right? So our idea for this was, okay, we can have it in the trends page, right? Which is the page that has all the stats of the repo. And we were thinking about adding a semantic control on top of these cards, right? Moving these cards a little bit further down. So we're thinking on moving them a little bit further down and adding a semantic control here. And the first side, we're gonna name trends, and the other tab is gonna be stars. So as soon as the user presses the stars, it's gonna show. It's only gonna show, I think, the chart and graphing how much stars you have, and maybe you could add a single card that says the total amount of stars we have right now, right? So yeah, we could play around with that. Oh, and another idea we had to like for improving the user experience when they're using this new feature, right? We said, okay, if someone in the repo page. Oh wait, we have another question. How do you make those graph? Microcharts? No. So in GitTrends, we're using the Syncfusion component for the charts. So that's how we're implementing our charts in GitTrends. We're using the Syncfusion component. Yep. You definitely could also use microcharts, but we just went. Brandon already had Syncfusion added for some other stuff he was doing, so we just went with the Syncfusion one. And they have like the community license that was perfect for us as well. So yeah, we just defaulted to Syncfusion, and they have a bunch of other good components we could leverage if we wanted to in the future. So it made total sense. So yeah, that's the idea for if we try and tackle the star tracking one today. Try and find a way of doing this semantic control here and see how we will like display the star value here and create maybe the star tracking graph. Yeah, so to create a graph, I'm gonna show you how to do it in Illustrator. I think is how I did this graph. I don't remember really clearly how I use the tool for the graph in Illustrator, so we'll figure it out together. Don't worry. And lastly, the About Us page. Some of the ideas we had is, well, what could this page have, right? And some of the stuff we want to have on it is like a summary of what GitTrends is, a direct link to the repo project, another link to come directly to the issue section and create a suggest features and bugs. And also we wanted to show like the contributors of the app. So we want to show, you know, we have this data already. If you go here to the repo and you know how they come, you know how you see how all the contributors that have done an issue or contributed with code appear here in a list. We want to show like that same thing. We want to put like the list of all the little heads. I have to double check if we have the ability of putting the username as well, because it will be cool to put like the avatar, the circle avatar with their name at the bottom. And yeah, that would be nice. So we could say thank you to them for all the efforts they have put in. Other page and about us. Oh, so another idea we had is that the about us page could maybe be a tab navigation, right? And it could have like the about us, and then the other tab it would have, it could be like the list of dependencies we use in the project, like all the libraries we use, to give credits to all the awesome libraries we're using, like Sharpnado, like the library Brandon made for async await best practices. What else do we have? We have Refit, we have 40, we have a ton of cool things that we're using there, and that way the users are the Xamarin community users that are using the app can just see right away and go directly to those repo pages and install them in their own app, right? I'm gonna show you here. So here we have like all the resources we have used. You see the bug rainbows is really good. SQLite.net, Infusion, Pancake View. So we also want to give credit to all of those awesome libraries, community libraries we're using. So yeah, the About Us page I think is the one that's gonna take us a little bit more time to do, because it has like a few sections, and we're probably gonna have to change the navigation of the app, right? Because right now, if you see the app, wait, I open Visual Studio Code. No, thank you. So if you see the navigation of our app, at the moment, it's like, you know, like push navigation. It's linear. We don't have a hamburger menu here. So we will definitely have to either add the About Us in our menu here, like in our three-dotted menu, or we could modify this and make this into a hamburger menu, and maybe have home, I guess, or something like that, and the other option will be About Us. But we have to think about it, because is it actually worth it to have the hamburger menu just to have this home page, which is gonna have like the repos and everything, and then just the About Us? We have to think about the trade-off there. Why not tabs? We thought about tabs, but we will then be mixing two navigation patterns there that don't go well with each other. Because imagine we put tabs here, right? We put one tab is the home page, I mean the home, we will go call it, or repos. And remember, this repo tab, if you click any of those items, you're gonna start navigating, right? So you're gonna start creating a navigation tree in this one that is like a push navigation. So then the tab is gonna say home, where you're actually gonna be like in the trends details, etc. So I don't know. Brandon didn't really like the tab idea here. I think he doesn't like the tabs in iOS. So yeah, we could definitely try it, but at least when I talked to Brandon about it, he didn't really like it. So maybe we could do like the hamburger menu, or yeah, when we get to it, we'll think about different ideas. We can search for different designs and see how people are doing it, how designers are doing it, and maybe there's some solution with tabs that we can do it. I'm not seeing it at the moment. So that's the whole point of doing this live and just experimenting, just learning about different navigation patterns we can use and making them work, right? So I think we finished going over the requirements for each feature. So now that you know what are the ideas we can do in the Adobe XD project, write again in the chat which one you think we could do in the next 40 minutes. No, the next 30 minutes, because I'll take 10 minutes to talk about the two topics we had for today. And then we'll go into creating the first mockup for any of those three features. I'm personally inclining towards the, where is it? Towards the start tracking, or we could do the favorite one. I think the about us we can probably do next month, next Friday, when we have at least an hour to work on it. So, or maybe an hour and a half, so we have more time to do all of this, right? So let me know which of these two you would like, and we can get on that. While you think about that, let me talk about today's post. Where is it? Let's see. My blog. And today we're going to be talking about iconography and magic numbers. How did we come about picking what icons we were going to use in GitTrends? What was the style? Icons have style. Yep. Icons, like, you could see icons like another font you have in your app. And icons can have different styles. Some of the common known styles, it's outline, so basically the icons are only like the lines. They could be filled, so there are icons that have solid colors and fill all their spaces, right? They could be circular. Circular? Let me see. Let me get those styles named right for you. Let's go to, I'm going here. Where's the material icons? Here. So material design also has a great library of icons you can use that are basically all the system Android icons they have in their operating system. And you can download them and use them in any project you want. It could be web, mobile, iOS, anything, right? Because you can download the resources as SVG. Remember, SVG is vector. So you can download the icons and modify them completely, change their colors, so you can play around with them, right? Here are the different themes of icons or styles they have defined. So you could have filled icons. If you know, here you can see the difference, right? Let me zoom in. Let's see. Okay, there I'm zooming in. If you notice, all the icons have a fill color on them, right? You see, all the icons have like a lot of color on them. So, okay, it's still zooming in. What's happening here? Let's put it 125. That should be good. So, okay, that's the fill style. Let's go with outline now. So, the outline style, you can see how instead of having that fill color, the spaces they have for each icon is empty, right? They only have the outline of the icon. You could also have rounded icons. So I believe all of them are gonna have rounded corners, or yeah, you see, all of them have rounded corners. You could also have the two-tone style, and they're gonna have two colors on them. See, you could either have, this is the default one they use, so they use like a light gray and black color for the lines. See? Well, there's a ton of styles for icons, because remember, designers also create their own icons, their custom icon teams. So yeah, this is just the material design ones. So you have already 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have this whole collection of icons, and you have 5 different variations that you can use them in, right? The sharp one basically has sharp edges. You see, everything is really rectangular with this one. So the important thing when dealing with icons, we go into the same into the same issue, right? So many options. Which one do I pick? I'm gonna go crazy. No need to go crazy. To keep it simple, just when you're looking for icons, try and stick to the same style of icons throughout your app. So make that design decision when you're about to make your designs. You're gonna and decide, I'm gonna use filled icons, I'm gonna use outline or rounded icons. Once you decide for that, then you can go to all the these good sites I recommended for finding icons in the blog post. And you can literally just search any keyword and that's gonna pop up a great icon for that keyword. So you can put like alarm or computer or anything that comes to mind, and they, like, a lot of designers have open sourced their designs and you can download the vector of those icons. And remember, we can modify vectors in Adobe XD and completely change their color. So you see, I downloaded this eye icon. Let me just go to the icon section I have in the project. Remember, this is like a timeline of how we were learning. Now, remember, the second session was about colors. Then we started learning about icons. And we started creating components with using leveraging our magic numbers. So that's why you see like our components are really organized and have good spacing on them. So this is the two topics we're dealing with today. After this topic, you should be able to already create components in Adobe XD and have them well spaced between each other like this. So that's why we're gonna start mocking up on the next 5 minutes, because now you have all the base foundation you need to create any redesign you want and start doing all of these stuff we did. All the other two topics we're gonna be dealing with is just dark theme and talking about empty state. So you're ready. After this session, you're gonna be good to go. So here are the icons we picked for our design. I recommend getting a little like reserving a spot on the project just to put your icons organized, and it makes it easier for you when you need to export them and add them to your xamarin app, right? Because remember, I'm using all these icons, but they're all scattered throughout my UI. So when the time comes to export all the assets, it's gonna be really hard for you if you have them all separate, right? You can, so once I put them here, I can literally select them all, go to File, and in File, I select Sport selected, and I get all my resources I need, and then I can just add them to my project. So all of these icons, the good thing about using these sites I'm giving you, and when you're searching for icons, make sure you search for them in SVG. Another consideration I tell you here in the post is, after you choose an icon style, make sure you keep a consistent size in your icons throughout your app. So the UI is harmonious, right? And makes sense to the user. So if you notice here, all these icons are the same size. If they're in the same context, I keep them the same size. It doesn't matter how different the shape of the icon is, it has to be the same dimensions. Because if you change the dimensions of one of them, then it doesn't look right, it doesn't look balanced. So remember, we are always trying to find the right balance in our UI. So when you look at it as a whole, the user doesn't feel like noise in the screen and can see it with no problem. So the size I recommend for your icons, also in the material design guidelines, when you go to the icon section, you're also going to see they recommend these sizes are 24 times 24 dp or 32 times 32 dp. If you go, you can go on increments of 4 and 8 from there, but if you pass for 52 dps, I wouldn't recommend using vector resources anymore for an icon. Just use an image resource, because remember, for those of you that were maybe not in the first session where we will when we were talking about image resources and vector resources and what is a vector, vectors are actually calculated with a formula at runtime, right? Because these are literally just paths, and the device calculates them and renders them in the UI. That's why when you grow them or make them smaller, they never lose their quality, because they're being calculated, right? But if you use really complex icons, that's another thing you have to keep in mind. The icons you're gonna look for, try and find icons. If you see in material design, the icons, they try to keep them simple. It has a few lines and details, but it doesn't have really detailed like stuff inside of it, right? You see? Because the more lines and details it has, the more it requires to calculate, right, and render. So that's why you want to keep your icons as simple as possible. And also, when it has too much stuff in the icon and you put it in a small size, the user can't distinguish between what is what inside the icon. So try and keep your icon simple. So if it's a heart, just keep the heart, and maybe this, you see the loyalty thing, just add the tag in the heart, but don't add more stuff, because either way the user's not going to see it at that size. So yeah, that's about icons. Let me send you the other links. Icon Finder is another great library of icons you can use. There's another great one called let's see, Flight Icon. I also use that one. Just filter them by free. Never pay, well, if your project, if your company wants to pay for an icon pack, go ahead. But there's so many free that you can even use them free of attribution, that I don't see why you would pay for an icon pack. At least not if you're gonna pay for an icon pack, just get a designer and get him to design your own icons. I don't know. That's my opinion on that. Also, the last neat trick you should keep in mind when dealing with icons. What about the colors? How do you know which color you should be putting your icons throughout the app, right? So remember, we need to keep this simple. The recommendation material design gives, and I also agree with, is that you should keep the color of your icons. Just use the same color you're using for your text. So there's some parts where we're gonna break that rule, but if they're, you see, if your icons are on top of your primary color, go with the recommended text color you have for your app text in front of that surface color, right? Which is normally the text color you define in your palette. So if you see here, remember when I was talking about colors in last session, I was saying give everything its color, don't leave anything to chance, because that's more time you're gonna be spending while you're implementing your UI in your app, right? Just define everything here. So you see the text color here. For the light theme, I set as black, and for the dark theme, I set as white. So and background and car surface. So yeah, in the general setting, this should do, right? If I use black text here, let me see, it still should look good. Yeah, you see, It has good contrast between the 500 primary color and my text color. So you can break this rule on the light theme. If your primary color is kind of dark and you want to have it white, you can just go with white. So I put this was a decision we made. We said, okay, in our light theme, we actually want to use white for the navbar. So anywhere else, the text is black, but in the navbar and for our icons, we're using white color. And it coordinates with the dark theme as well, because the dark theme, everything is in white color, right? So yeah, don't go and put like an accent color for your icon in the navbar. It doesn't, well, it can make good contrast, but remember, we're trying to keep the accent color just for like buttons and action items, action components we have throughout the UI. So for navbars, I would recommend just go with the text color. Now, if you're using icons for like cards and like you want them to stand out, yes, use an accent color. Like you can use a color, but make sure it's an accent color. So remember, accent colors are the range 200 and below, right? In the material palette. If you use colors darker than that, in the light theme at least, it will not stand out that much. In the dark theme, when we talk about dark theme, I'll show you a neat trick we do with colors. And we actually don't use the 200 scale in the dark theme. We actually use darker colors. And there's a good explanation behind that. You'll be like, oh, that makes total sense when we get to that next session. So that's about iconography. I don't want to take more of our time for the mockups on these topics. Let's just quickly go over magic numbers, and at 7:40 we'll start with the mockup. Let me know in the chat which one you decided you want to do. And now at 7:40 I'll decide in any of the two. So what are magic numbers? Magic numbers are basically numbers we started to see that we were using a lot. We were starting to show a pattern while we were designing, right? And there are also numbers that we noticed throughout reading the material design documentation that are always like recommended in terms of spacing from one component to the other. So in your head, when you're doing your UI, you always try and default to those ones because you already use them, right? So you start creating like a pattern, and what I recommend, and Brandon as well now, is that you create your little like cheat sheet of your magic numbers. Your magic numbers are just, you could see them like random numbers you put because you want to, but eventually, since you already read the material design guidelines and you have practice, they're kind of close to the recommendation, at least mine are kind of close to what material design recommends, right? Try and get some logic behind how you are generating your magic numbers. And my logic is basically the same. Material design is the following. I generate numbers for my spacing, font sizes in increments of 4, 8, and 16. So my smallest value I use for those numbers is 40p. And then I go from there, incrementing in numbers of 4, 8, or 16. And here I did a neat cheat sheet, and here I try to like put boxes with what is 16 dp, 8 dp. So when I need to choose a number and I want to do like separate two components between each other, I can just see the amount of spacing, and I can just say, okay, I need 32. After you use it regularly, you'll know it by memory. So yeah, in terms of, okay, so I'm using these values, right? 4, 8, 16, 24, 32, 48, 52, and 72. Those are like the common values I use. You can go for higher than 72, and to generate those new numbers, just start using the increments. Or if you want something in between, use the increments. And once you use that like that, since it's like a standard, right? It's like the same increments. It doesn't matter that in some part you use 16, and let's say in the top you use 16 and then the left you use 24. It's still gonna look balanced because the increments are balanced, right? You're doing 4, 8, or 16. So you can play around with your numbers, and you can know that everything is gonna still maintain its balance. So for text, here are the values I use for text. Let me zoom in here. Okay, so there's a, let's say you see on this card, right, for the referring sites. You see here, when you see that card, right away you see how the site title is kind of related to the description, right? What says Google. So to make that effect in the user, that text is related, the max I give between like of margin between the text is 8 dp, and the sweet spot I always found is good is 4 dp. Sometimes some fonts have the line height really big between each other, so I try and give the less dp here to make them look closer, right? And that way you can make text look like it's related to each other. If you give 16, it looks like two different paragraphs. So keep that in mind, and you can use that little trick to make stuff look related to each other. This is good for having like a title and a subtitle, or title, subtitle, and a caption, right? And that way you can arrange that and it's gonna look really neat. For UI components, to separate them between each other, the minimum I use is 8 dp. If you use less than 8 dp, they're gonna look like they're siblings, or like they're part of the same component. So use more than 8 dps. I default to 16. I don't use 8 dps unless I actually want to make them look like they're related. So I go 16 dp, and it's a good spacing. So you see between my cards, I always use 16, and also in my pages I use for content. So all my pages have a standard. I always put a padding of 16 dp. So all my content always starts 16 dp from the top, 16 dp for the left, 16 dp from the right, and from the bottom. So if this list goes all the way to the bottom, it's gonna have 16 dp from here. If in my design I decide that this 16 dp on the bottom cuts my thing, cuts my item, and it cuts the effect, because yeah, I think in list I don't do the 16 dp here because I don't want it to cut like my item view over here. Then it looks like it's glitching, right? So in the bottom in a list, you take away the 16 dp and just leave 0 here, so it gives the effect like it's coming from the bottom of the device, right? Let's see what else. For icons, you can go as low as 16 dp. Anything below 16 dp I found is too small, and you can go as high as 32 dp, and the sweet spot I have found is 24 dp. So in GitTrends, let's see what is the size I use here. So for the card icons, I made them 24 times 24, and you see how good the size looks, right? So more than 32 I don't think is necessary for an icon. If you go higher than 32, maybe you go to 56, that's the limit, and you go 52, and you go higher than 52, use an image. Remember, that's already higher than 52 is like an avatar, or maybe an empty state icon you want to put, right? Like maybe some graphic like this. For that, use a image asset. One more minute and we start mocking up. Icons, avatars. So like for example, this case we have the avatar of the user in the setting page. What are good sizes for me to put that? well, these avatar sizes I have here are actually for list. So if I go to this list, for example, and I click one of these circle images for the fab icons, you can see that it's probably around 32 or 48. Let's see. Yeah, 32 times 32. So 32 is the minimum I give to them, because then they look too small and they start looking like icons instead of an avatar, right? So 32 times 32, 52 times 52, or 72 times 72. 52 has been the sweet spot for me, I believe. Let me see how much I use in GitTrends. We go here, double click this one. Oh, look, actually in GitTrends, I went first with 52. I saw that related to how the components I put in the card. It looked kind of small. Let's put it back. You see? It looks kind of small related to everything else. So I was like, let me just add 10 dp to it. And I even broke my increments. So yeah, it's not like these rules I'm giving you are set in stone. You can play around with your numbers and see what works for you. So yeah, here I use 52 and it worked perfectly for my avatars. Why is it not taking it again? Let me Control C. There it is. And that was the size that made it feel like right. So you can definitely play around with that. What else? Oh, page paddings, as I told you. 16 all around, and then I put my content in and I start designing. Or you could also do, if you want more spacing, for more breathing space for the sides. Let's say you want to make something that is like the settings page. You see, this goes almost to the edge of the screen. This is 16, but I wanted to make the settings page a bit more indented, and because I was gonna add these lines here, right? And I wanted it to look like a different feel, right? So I gave 32 on each side, 16 on the top, and 32 on the bottom, I think. Yeah, 32 on the bottom. Let's see from the sides. Oh, no. No, wait, that's not the one. Let's see. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Actually, what I did was 16 on the top, 16 on the left, 16 on the right, and 32 on the bottom. Nice. It actually looked like it had more here, but it has to do with the effect these lines create, because the lines are actually at 32, you see? So the only thing that are to 60 are the widgets, where the widget ends. Yeah, now it makes sense. And the icons as well, I think it's 32. Yeah, I think you can see it there if I zoom in, right? So yeah, I have the content at 32, and on the left side, on the right side for the widgets, I put 16, because these are actions, right? And I didn't want them to, if I put them more inside, they look like kind of out of whack. So yeah, 16 worked for me for the widgets. So yeah, that's a new nice cool effect you can create with just adding box views to create lines. So okay, I'm looking at the chat. I see the one we want to try a mock-up now is the star tracker. So yeah, let's get into that one. So let me Control C, because I modified this over here, and we want to create a new canvas for this suggestion. Okay, there it is. Perfect. So okay, we want to create now star tracker. So each time I need to implement a new feature, I literally just come here, duplicate the text, try and keep the same format I have been keeping, right? Let's put star tracker. And don't worry, if we don't finish completely the start tracker today, we can definitely do the first half of the next session to finish our start tracker, because we want to be coding on the next session, right? So we can start it today, finish it completely on the next one, talk briefly about Dark Team, and start coding with Brandon. So let's see, I put start tracker. Now I want to copy my canvas. A nice cool thing about XD is that once you have the design made inside of your canvases, you can literally, you see, you click the name of the canvas. That's gonna select everything inside of it. You press shift, you select another one on its name. Now you have two of them selected. Then you can either do command copy or control copy, depending if you're Windows or Mac. Or you could press your Alt key on the keyboard, long press and drag. So no, you're gonna click and drag the canvases, and that's so. Okay, let me repeat. Press down the Alt keyboard, click and drag the canvases to the side. Yeah, and that's gonna, so when you long press and, okay, let me see what happened here. I think I duplicated. So what that's doing is, when you press down your Alt key and select any component, any element you have in Adobe XD, and you click and drag it, it's gonna duplicate it, and it's gonna put it on your mouse, and you can move it to anywhere you want. So that's an easy way to duplicate stuff while you're working. That's a nice shortcut I learned. And now I prefer just duplicating like that instead of doing the shortcut of Command C, Command B. So what's happening to my Adobe XD? Where's my selection? Okay. Okay. Adobe XD didn't like us messing around too much with the duplication. Let's see. Let's give him a few 30 seconds to catch up to us. But the good thing is that now we're done with most of the fundamentals, and now we can just literally use the rest of our sessions to mocking up, putting in practice everything we learned. I want you guys also to create your own proposals for the features we're gonna be doing. And yeah, let's see if we can combine the ideas and have you guys also. I think you can even we can give you tasks once we implement the base UI, and you can even collaborate in the repo and like maybe add the colors that are missing, maybe the icons. So yeah, I definitely recommend you guys to collaborate, because remember, we're gonna have the about page, and that gives you an opportunity to be a part of the project and appear on the second version of it, right? When we launch it, you're gonna be on the about page. Okay, now Adobe XD is back. It's kind of moving slow. He's tired already. Don't worry, he's gonna help us out now. So I copied both of the canvas because remember, we have dark and light theme. Remember the recommendation I said, first work on the light theme, then you do the dark theme. Okay. Okay, XD, we still haven't finished. Can you chill? Adobe XD is already like, there's only 8 minutes left. I'm closing. Goodbye. Let me save. We'll open it again. Don't worry. Oh. Wow, and our computer was playing so nice the whole stream. It had to do something, right? It was going too good. So if you have any questions, you can do them in the chat. Let me send you some more resources while Adobe XD opens. So for app icons, you know, the launcher icons. For those of you that don't know, there's some great tools you can use to generate those app icons. So, and there's the icon pack we use in GitTrends. Yeah, Adobe XD is like, yeah, stream is over. You think you roll your PC, but no, it's me. So the icon pack we decided to use in GitTrends is actually, since we said, well, it makes sense. We're working with GitHub, right? So why don't we use the same icons, the same icon team GitHub is using? And a good news is that they're actually open source and they're released in Icon Finder. And here I left you the link to them. So you can actually go there and download the GitHub icon pack. And their icons are really, really, really neat. Wait, that's the wrong URL. I'll have to update that in the blog. But if you search Icon Finder and you put GitHub Icons Pack, it's gonna show you the whole library of icons. There's also another icon pack that is called Linear. I got recommended to long ago, and it's a really nice set of icons. See, it's like really modern, and everything is based on lines. So this is like an outline style pack of icons, and they have a ton of icons. You see, 1K vector line icons. You can use them in your PPTs, you can use them in your mockups and your apps. This is also the tool I recommend for doing your app launcher. So the cool thing about learning of all these nice icon resources and websites you have is that your app launch icons, you can even use those custom vector icons and create your own app launcher icon. And if you create your own logo, right, how we have the GitTrends one here. All right, I forgot Adobe XD is there. Let's see if he wants to. Oh, we have in a sketch. We don't need you, Adobe XD. The only thing that Adobe XD has left to do to me while I'm doing a live stream is literally start uninstalling itself and say like, peace out. So let's open Sketch so I can show you the vector of GitTrends. So you can take that vector, export it as an image, come here to this cool launch icon generator that if you have developed in Android, you probably know about this tool already. And you can add the image. Okay. So it's gonna prompt you to add the image. It's gonna add it here. So you add the vector image, and then you literally can just change the background. Let me do it with one of the ones they have already. Let's say this one, right? This one, you can trim it. You can add padding to the icon. The more padding you add around the icon, the smaller it's gonna be. You can set the background color, and this has like the material design recommended colors for icons here on the bottom. That's really neat as well. See the green color. You can crop. If the image is too big, you can like crop it, or you can center it inside of the icon. You can choose a different shape for the icon. So for launcher icons, Material Design has good recommendations as well, and they have like a what's it called? It's like the in design they call it like the beauty. What's it called? It's like the beauty chart or graph, and basically it has like all the lines that if you use that guide, and follow the guide, the lines in that guide, your composition is gonna be completely harmonic and beautiful, mathematically. So if you do it based on that, your icon is gonna look really neat in any resolution, and for the user, it's gonna look like beautiful, and it's gonna be well balanced, even matter. Yeah, there it is, the golden ratio. Hey, you see, the chat is really on point today. So yeah, it's called the golden ratio. When you search for it, you're gonna see. I could search for it, but since my computer is like revolting at the moment, I don't want to mess a lot with it because maybe the stream is gonna drop. But search for the golden ratio chart. And even in material design, when you in the documentation where you go to icons, it's gonna talk to you about it. It's gonna show you the chart, and you're gonna see it's like a chart with a square, and it then has like a spiral in the middle and a bunch of like guides inside of it, and all of that is based on a mathematical formula that, in short, basically says that anything arranged in that proportion, it's like the best proportion, so it looks well balanced and the composition is good. So you can learn more about it in the material design guidelines, and if you research about it, but it's a really good tool to use. So you see, you can generate like the different shapes for the background of your icon, like circle, tall rectangle, which are like the backgrounds material design recommends, and all of those backgrounds and the icon on this. So the good thing of this generator is that all of this is in sync with the golden ratio. So you see the size of those squares are exactly following along the golden ratio. You can also add elevation. You can make it you can make the icon cast a shadow. You see this cool effect it has here. Let me see if I can zoom this in for you. So see, you can make really sophisticated app icons, and you just need app launchers icons, and you just need the SVG you want. So for the GitTrends one, we took the logo, we took the G, right? Let's pray that sketch doesn't break the PC. But I really want to show you what we did with the GitTrends one here. Let's see. I think it's open. Yeah, it opened in my bottom screen here in my Mac. Now here it is. So for the GitTrends one, let me double check if Brandon hasn't changed it. Yeah, for the GitTrends one, we literally just took the whole logo since it's a vector. Yeah, and we exported it. We brought it here. We put the image in. We had the GitTrends logo here, and that's it. We put some padding around it, and we put a white circle background. So we put a circle, put the background white. And the effect for the background is none, but this effect is actually cool as well. Like the score basically just slices in the middle and gives two tones to the background, so you could also use that in any idea you have. Then you give a name to the launcher, you download it, and it's gonna download it in all the resources you need for your Android project. And I think it also generates it for iOS, if I'm not wrong. Or you can use the web one and use one of the other tools I gave you, like app icon generator, app icon.ico, and they're gonna generate you all the iOS versions of that icon you got from here generated. So you can get really high quality app launcher icons with no need of like buying it or asking a designer to do it. Just create a vector and that's it. It's 8.5 already. Let's see. Adobe XD still hasn't opened. So what we're gonna do, we already decide on what the feature is we are gonna be implementing, right? So what I want you guys to do is go to the issue, try and brainstorm and come up with a proposal for the start tracking screen. Let me copy paste the link here of the issue again. So mock up a proposal, go to the issue, and just add a comment here, add your image, and next Friday I'll also I don't really want to make a proposal if it's not live, because the whole point of this stream is for me to show you how we mock it up. So probably let's just take next Friday first hour to do the start tracking proposal. You guys do yours before next Friday, upload them here, and while we're doing it live, we can take ideas from you guys. We can take ideas from you guys, and I see. Give me a second. So we can take ideas from you guys, and when we're mocking it up, we can do it together and integrate everything. So yeah, that's your homework. And next Friday, what we're gonna be seeing is we're gonna mock up, we're gonna see dark themes, and then we're gonna code the star tracker implementation of this on the second hour. And okay, let me give you some announcements of next upcoming events for .NET Dominicana. So there's a really cool event coming up that we're doing in collaboration with the UI UX community from Dominican Republic and the GDG community from Dominican Republic. Let's see, events. And it's a perfect topic for the conference as well, because it's around our live series. The event is gonna be a full day conference around user experience and how user experience for developers. So you see, this topic is catching on, and it's really an interesting topic that us as developers can leverage, and we can learn about it and master without having to do that much effort, right? Once we get the right resources in our hands. So this conference is gonna happen next Saturday. So that's Friday. Let's try and end like at 8, so you can get a good night rest, or 8:30 max, and you can attend our Saturday event. We're gonna have great speakers there. They're all Dominican and are working in around UI UX, or are developers that are doing UI UX, have learned about it. Like you see, I'll be there, and Angel is gonna be there as well. But then we have really awesome UI UX experts. We're gonna have Ana Patricia Rosario. She's a UX strategist from Google. She's Dominican, so make sure to go to a session. We're gonna have Leonardo Jimenez, who is a principal and co-founder of Code Tiger. He works a lot with Python, but he's a really good designer as well. We're gonna have Claudio Enriquez. He's a lead UX researcher. We're gonna have Vanessa Marielli. She's also a great designer, and Alice Perez. Most of you know her. And then you're gonna have Angel and me going over basically all the tools you can use for. So our talk is gonna be a lightning talk about UI UX, and it basically is like a summary of all the tools you can use as a developer to do all the different topics we have seen throughout our series. So you're gonna have a head start if you go to our session, because most of the tools you probably have seen, but we're gonna add some extra ones as well for web development there. So this is gonna happen in the YouTube channel of the GDG. And yeah, make sure to drop by and come hang out. Remember, we're in COVID. There's always a lot to learn, and uh, UI and UX is a good topic to learn because you can literally transform your side projects from like an entry level look and feel to production ready with compiling all of these efforts, right? So yeah, thank you again for coming and hanging out as always. I'm really happy to see all you guys here each Friday, staying true to learning about UI UX and all the topics we bring to you in dotnetdo. I forgot to say thank you for all the followers, the new followers. So we have Dab Dabjo, I don't know if I'm saying that user right, but thank you for watching and for following. We have Ingeniero Eduardo. Thank you for coming, Eduardo. We have Simp Fusing. We have also Abdela. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and yeah, I'll see you next Friday. Make sure to download the GitTrends repo, download the XD project, create your proposals, and next Friday we'll be mocking up and doing some code. So yeah, have a nice rest of the weekend and have a nice rest of your night. Goodbye.